Hello and welcome everybody to Talking Anime with the Family, or Anime Talk with the Family. As you can see, I have more family here than normal. Our picture looks better. We were worried, like when we were originally sizing this in for the screen today, we're all like, oh no, half of Brianna's face is outside the pit. It's actually looking better on here now, so I'm actually glad about that. I just realized my hair looks like crap, so I need to. All right, we'll put this on. There. Oh, yeah, all better. No, welcome. And we are here, as you know, to talk about Demon Slayer. Yeah, so I can't remember how long this had been out before I started watching it. I think my kids might have been into this one even before me. They kind of found this one, and then I kind of found it, but then we all just really started talking about it, liking it. By the way, this is Brianna, as you guys remember, and this is my daughter Lily, and I am Brian, the speaker. So, as if you didn't know. Come on. Anyway, so thank you for being here today. We're excited about this because Demon Slayer has really been a phenomenon. And we've already done one live stream on this before, but we wanted to do another one because really we only talked about the first season. There's been 3 seasons since then, and with the expected movie that's coming out, the Infinity Castle, which I was rewatching the Swordsmith Village episodes last night in preparation for this. And there's at the first episode for that season, there's a huge sequence where they go through the Infinity Castle and the upper ranked demons meet with Muzan Kibutsuji.
You got it right.
I don't want to say that wrong about half the time. It's 50%. Okay,
it,
all right.
Yeah, no,
I'm just going to turn to you and be like, Muzan
Kibutsuji.
Yeah, okay. So I don't know why, but I have like a mental block with his name. I'm like, Muzan Kibutsuji. And I screw up the end of it all the time.
That's the funny thing, because I also struggle with the same thing for the main character on Solo Leveling. I can't say his name for the life of me.
You could just...
I can't say it. No, anyway, so if you've seen that, the Swordsmith Village, you really get kind of an inside look at what they're going to be dealing with in the Infinity Castle, because it is crazy. It's like the mirror dimension for like Doctor Strange and stuff. Like, it's just like walls and and then there's what's the lady? There's a woman with a can't think of the instrument name. The ukulele or something like that, and it like shifts and changes. And anyway, so we're getting ahead of ourselves. I apologize, but that's what we can expect in this film. Is I think most of it's going to take place inside of the Infinity Castle.
Oh, so. And Dad, if you're ever struggling to say his name, you can't just call him Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson?
Yeah, he looks like Michael Jackson.
Oh my gosh, he does. Okay, that is my new MJ. He is. I'm just going to call him MJ from now.
There we go.
So now this Demon Slayer is amazing if for so many reasons. The art style is really quite unique for Demon Slayer. It's got some of the anime stuff, but it's very specific to Demon Slayer, which is one of the things I do like about. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree 100%.
The art style is very stylized. It's kind of like Disney's Sleeping Beauty. That particular Disney animation was beautiful because of the man they had come in to do the work on it. It's very Renaissance era art, and it's fantastic. And so like I always notice stuff like that with different animation styles. When one is kind of specifically different than just normal. And Kamikaze, good evening. Thanks for jumping in tonight. So it's just it's an exciting story. So we go through the first season, which is really just him learning how to become a demon slayer. And he's being taught by
Urokodaki.
Yeah,
Urokodaki.
So he gets trained in water breathing from him, and then we moved to the Mugen Train, which came out as a film, and then they broke it down into episodes to actually make it a season. I actually went and saw this in the theater with my son in subtitles, which I never do, but I actually pulled it off. I was like, I can read and watch a thing at the same time. Because usually I'm not very good at that. I will be honest. I'm terrible. I'm either reading and missing what's happening on the screen, or I'm watching the screen and missing what people are saying if I'm doing subtitles. And that's just a failing of old people.
And not just you.
I am
do
50,
it.
so. So what did you guys think about the Mugen? When did you guys see the Mugen?
Oh, you can't even ask me that. I do not remember the first time I watched it.
We watched it a lot.
Date who I watched it with, like anything like that.
I think we watched it together and cried together.
Yeah.
So I mean, actually, in the in the opening sequence, you see the end of Mugen Train, or at the end of that, where
it starts to play out.
He dies at the end.
Rengoku. You can't remember Rengoku.
By the way, spoilers. If you've not seen these, we're going to talk about this. So go watch it. If you have not seen the up to the current season of Demon Slayer, go watch that and then come back and watch us, and then you can commiserate with us on how great it is. Because otherwise, we're gonna spoil the crap out of it for you. So anyway. But yeah, in my opening sequence, we use that scene where Rengoku dies after fighting the Upper Demon 3. Which is just, it's a fantastic sequence. Anyway, so this starts out with what? Mugen Train starts how?
The movie or this the little scene?
Well, it's the same. Like they took the movie and broke it down into episodes.
Yes,
so
the first episode is different from how we see the movie. He deals with another demon that's in the train station.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
Oh.
They start with the beginning of Rengoku's story,
why he's there.
Okay,
and then
I guess I guess I missed that. I must have skipped that episode or something. Anyway, so I'll have to go back and watch that myself. Good job, speaker. Anyway, so no, so when in the film, it starts out with them going to the train station. So they're getting on this train. I can't remember. They're headed to a mission.
Yeah, the mission.
Yeah. The mission is the train.
Yeah, but they don't know why.
So
because don't people keep disappearing?
Yeah, people keep disappearing on the train while it's going. So they're on the train to find the demon and kill him.
Yeah.
Or her, whatever it is.
And we've seen this demon before. You see him at the end. I think it's the end of first season, where because the lower ranked
they get summoned
are getting killed so they summon. So Muzan, Michael Jackson, summons them and basically says, "I'm going to kill you all because you're worthless to me. You're not living up to my lower ranks keep dying," and then he saves one of them,
Lower Moon 1, Enmu.
And so he saves him and gives him a huge infusion of his blood. So that kind of leads into this season. You don't realize that at first, but anyway,
until you get more into the next
and
season.
Also he's telling all demons whoever can kill the Slayer with the Hanafuda earrings will get a lot of blood too, more blood because he doesn't like Tanjiro.
Well, I think he's had dealings with those type of demon slayers in the past. In fact, there's hints later on that we see one that actually knew his family and was interacting with his father. We see that it's not Demon Slayer Village, but what's the season before that? So it goes Mugen Train. Oh, Entertainment District. And so in the Entertainment District, you actually see this guy. And then at the end of Entertainment District, you see someone who looks like him as upper rank 1.
Yurichi.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of a crazy thing. There's all these pieces that are slowly starting to click into place, and you don't know how these characters got from where they were to where you think they are, because you're not sure that that's what's happening.
You don't get straight indications.
Thank
you.
Yeah.
I'm not the one getting tongue twist today.
Yes.
I completely forgot. I was stuck on the indication thing.
Oh.
Anyway.
No, so yeah, okay. But anyway, so they get on the train and they're starting to go through, and the guy comes around to punch their tickets. And he's the train conductor comes around and he's acting kind of weird, if I remember right.
Mention who's all on the train?
Yeah, you got to mention it. Our three main characters, and of course Nezuko and Rengoku, are on the train.
Yep. So they meet Rengoku. I love how they meet Rengoku.
Tasty.
He's sitting there eating something. Tasty, and he's like really loud, and everybody's looking at him like.
Dead. Fun fact: he's half deaf.
Is he?
Yeah, because on his first mission, he ran into a flute demon, and like his blood demon art let him control you, like if you heard his music.
Oh.
So he like hit his eardrums and like made him partially deaf to kill the demon.
Sweet. I did not know that.
That's why he's so loud.
It's just funny because that makes a lot of sense now. Because I remember sitting in the theater going, "Why is he yelling tasty at the top of his line?" But it's just funny to me, anyway. So yeah, we have the four main characters. So we've got Boarhead, Inosuke, Zenitsu, and why am I losing all their names?
Zenitsu, Tanjiro,
and Nezuko. Anyway, so we got those four, and then we meet Rengoku on the train. And then stuff starts to happen. Everybody starts falling asleep, and they can't figure out why. And come to find out that the train conductor, when he clips their tickets, like basically puts a spell on them.
Because Enmu has put his blood into the ink that goes on the train tickets, so it activates his blood demon art.
So it puts them to sleep, and it makes them have beautiful dreams that they don't want to wake up from. Kind of reminds me of if you ever watched Justice League, there's an episode where a plant creature attaches itself to Superman and makes him see beautiful dreams. And so basically it's the perfect prison.
Krypton what was the planet called?
I can't remember.
Krypton never blow up. He's with his family. He has his wife and kid.
So basically, it traps you inside of something perfect that you don't want to escape from. So it's the perfect prison. So that's what that reminds me of from this, but it's on a much larger scale. So basically, everybody on the train is falling asleep, and as this goes on, they are slowly starting to realize they're trapped in their own dreams, and they're trying to get out. How do you get out of something that you don't want to get away from? And it really plays into that. Yeah. It's like in Justice League,
from something you truly desire and want.
Yep. And they even talk about that in that Justice League episode. He's like, what's the big guy that puts the plant on him?
I don't remember.
It's not Darkseid. It's a different guy. But he puts this on him. He's like, I wanted a prison where he basically feel like he was tearing off his own arms to get out. And so, it's like almost impossible. And so it's just, it has very much that feel. Who's the main? Tanjiro. Oh my gosh! I know I can, but it's like it's right there on the tip of my tongue.
Well, you can say Konpachiro, like.
I'll just start making up names. So Tanjiro, he's basically in this world where he's back with his family. Nobody's dead. It's just very happy,
just living his life how he was before Muzan came along.
And so it's just he's trapped in this world of everything he lost. And so it's just
I think the funny little tidbit they put in there is he goes when he gets in the dream and he meets his family, he goes, I guess being a swordsman was just a dream.
Oh.
And I go, oh my god, that's horrible.
So meta. It's like inside. Yeah. No, it is a really cool. The thing I didn't care for was you don't really see what's going on inside of Zenitsu.
You do.
Get snippets.
It's a very small part.
Okay.
He's like with Nezuko. He's the strongest demon slayer and just jumps over the mountain.
Okay, that's right. I forget. Do we see much of Inosuke's?
1, 2, 1, 2. Like, underling 3, come on. I'll give you shiny acorns. Zenitsu's and Inosuke's
are totally weird and kind of crazy compared to Rengoku's and Tanjiro's.
Because they're more like slice of life with those two. The others are just
we should also know Nezuko did not get put to sleep.
Yeah,
she's awake.
She didn't get a train ticket.
See, and I've watched that one again, but I didn't get to watch the whole. So I'm a little fuzzy. So I apologize. That's why I brought my left and right brain with me today. So
we didn't know you had.
No, sorry, I'm the right brain.
I the light brain. Did you forget which one makes the L when you hold your fingers? Anyway.
Brianna, switch me places.
No. So anyway, but the Mugen Train is really good. Come to find out, like I feel like I'm doing all the talking. Why don't you guys tell
We're
more of
helping
the
you
story?
get along.
Okay.
But Bree, remember when the guy gets in Zenitsu's dream and he's like, hey, well, you're not supposed to be in here. Only Zenitsu can be Nezuko can be in. What is that? You called it something like I can't.
That was a while ago.
It's
She
like,
slept since that. She can't remember all those things.
it's just like
She's like her dad.
A defense mechanism in their brain, basically being like, "You're not supposed to be here. What's going on here?" And it's so funny because, like, in Zenitsu's, there are 4 people who are
your subconscious.
Subconscious. There, that is. Real quick, I'm not even Muzion. No.
Yeah. Michael Jackson.
No, it was Enmu. I meant Enmu. He has the train conductor. Like, you see him come back to Enmu's hand and is like, please put me back to sleep so I can see my family again. And that's why he put them all to sleep. Because he wants peaceful dreams too.
Hmm.
He imprisons like people and then strips them of their dreams and says like, go do this and I'll give you back that dream of yours and you can sleep forever. And they're like, yes. And so they literally go do whatever they need to go back to sleep.
There are 4 kids, like about our 3 trios age, and one of them has tuberculosis. And like, these are people who have very bad lives, and that's how he puppets them around. He gets them to do their bidding. He has them go into their dream and tries to kill them by destroying their core while they're sleeping. Yeah. Well, and it's funny because when the 2 people who go into Zenitsu's and Inosuke's dream, they're met with horrors because just like horrors. Because in Zenitsu's dream,
That's
it's just like
a bad word.
While he's in this dream, he's like, why is it so dark in here? And then Zenitsu comes up behind like gardening tools and he's like, what are you doing in here? Only Nezuko can be in here. Snip, snip. And they're just like, he just runs away. It's like, what the heck is wrong with this guy?
Which is something me and Lily, I literally paused the movie and I was like, guess what? We had a whole entire rant
about the subconscious. Like, that was his subconscious. Like, because he has such good hearing, it's keeping him safe. It's like,
they all like, the only reason they're able to break out and not other people is because they have like heightened senses and subconsciouses because they're swordsmen and trained to deal with such situations. Yes. And I liked that part where it's kind of interesting because you see that when you find Rengoku and then Tanjiro, because in like theirs they have themselves or people or like family members be like, this isn't real, or like it just, they tell themselves it's not real, this isn't what you want, and then that's how they like kind of fight and be like, oh, this isn't real, like this is a dream.
Tanjiro like realizes it's not a dream when he goes to get water and like his real self is in the water. It's like, wake up! Drags him down in the water. It's like, wake up! You gotta get up.
Oh, it is really meta in your head kind of stuff that you get to see, and it's really interesting. There's a lot of psychological stuff that's happening inside them, and I'd forgotten about the people that they send into their dreams to kill them.
Which it's so crazy when they do that because they send the four.
There's 4 of them because the 4 demon slayers.
Yeah, the 4 like children into the dreams to destroy the cores, the souls, the person, to make sure they don't wake up from their dream and forever live whatever. Anyway, and then you see them like fight to wake up, and it's so crazy to see each individual's like soul conscious themselves because it tells their personality and it tells like the people they are inside.
Yeah, the 2 people we actually see get to the self core is the person who's in Rengoku's and Tanjiro's dream, And Rengoku's is just this burning place. Like, it's so hot. She's like, well, I gotta get out of here fast. Like, this is hot. And before she can even stab this, like, she finds it and, like, goes to stab it. But Rengoku's, like, subconscious just, like, strangles her in real life. Just, literally, she should have died because she was in a chokehold for so long. I don't know how she survived.
It's probably time dilation where they make it seem longer than what's actually like, you know what I mean?
Sure?
Because when
like,
stuff's happening to you in like a crazy situation, time seems to slow down where you're like, some seconds become like minutes and hours. I mean, it's just so, I think that's what they're trying to do there, is show that this is happening very fast, but it's all condensed because of the type of experience that they're having. So basically what ends up happening is we find out that the demon who's responsible for all this was the one from the last season that got the huge transfusion of blood, and that he has bonded with the train. He is the train. His body has become the entire train. And anyway, they basically have to
fight the
entire train. It comes alive and starts trying to eat them all. And
there
like
are 8 carts.
And so like they end up basically severing the spine in the
train compartment, the conductor's compartment.
Up at the engine and stuff. So it's like this crazy sequence where they finally break free. They start fighting, and then they're able to kill the train. They kill the demon in this crazy sequence where I think it's the first time we see him use the fire breathing, where
sun breathing.
Tanjiro, uses sun breathing and to sever the spine of the train.
Because father,
and it's just crazy because it's this like spiraling wheel of fire, goes right through it. And
you have that on your
intro?
It's
I think so.
Intro.
Yeah, it's in the intro.
It's
so anyway, and then that's when they think they've defeated everything, and that's when Upper Demon 3 shows Akaza. I just think it was Upper 3. He shows up and fights Rengoku. The other 3 are seriously injured from the train and everything that's been happening there. So like they're pretty much just stuck watching Rengoku try and fight him. And the whole time, the thing I thought was interesting was he's trying to convince Rengoku to become a demon.
Because he wants like a strong partner, guy to keep fighting with for the rest of eternity. Because no one else is as strong as him.
Yeah,
equally. So it's like a fair, close, fun fight. Because either people are
sparring
above him or below him, and so there's no one on par.
And he's like, if you become a demon, you'll be so much stronger, and we can just keep fighting forever. And like he wants that.
So it's pretty crazy, this fight sequence that goes on, and it ends up with Rengoku being defeated, which is really sad because it is really sad. They really did a good job of pulling the emotion for this character that you've only met through this. Like when you do it in the movie, you've just met him an hour beforehand, and so you're not really connected. But it's amazing how much emotion gets connected to Rengoku in a short period of time.
When they destroy the train, it breaks apart and crashes.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone inside like gets hurt, injured, and Tanjiro and Inosuke and Zenitsu are like really badly hurt. And he comes and he's like, "Let me help you." And you can just see the kind of person Rengoku is when he comes to like help people. And then like the reason he's fighting the demons, and then that's when you're like, oh, that deep connection, I feel it.
Yeah. And like when they're fighting against Enmu while Inosuke and Tanjiro are trying to decapitate him, Rengoku is fighting against 5 of the carts to keep everyone in the train alive, while Zenitsu and Nezuko are taking 3 of them. 6. 3. But when the train gets tossed over, he gets everyone out. And they're completely safe. Like, no one gets hurt besides the Demon Slayers. Well, kind of. But he gets everyone out. Not a single person died besides him. That's how good of a Demon Slayer he was.
And so it's just and then Tanjiro ends up trying to catch up to the demon because the sun's coming up. He's running away, and he throws his sword, and it sticks through the demon, and he's screaming at this demon that he's a coward and all this stuff.
And fight.
And so and this is really like getting to this demon because like he lives to fight, but he can't, or he'll die in the sun. it's a really crazy sequence and stuff that we go on later to figure out that demon really hates Tanjiro now because of what he did. Because
of what he said.
Muzan gets ticked at him later on for letting him get away and let him
Starts
get away with what he did.
Making him bleed from the inside out.
Yeah.
So
it's great. I mean, there's a lot of things that are being set up for the future in these first few seasons. But I did want to bring something up that I've noticed throughout this entire series, and started in the first one, and it's a theme that goes through the second. So when the demons usually get killed, Tanjiro always seems to find a connection with the demons. And there's this long-running thread through the whole thing that basically Muzan is using people. He finds people at their lowest ebb, that they're broken, they're distraught, they're desperate and stuff, and he uses that against them to basically cause them to be violent and vengeful, and you end up realizing like that these people didn't necessarily want to be what they became, and stuff. Yeah. And it's just, it's an amazing thing where you get to see the duality of personality, where people aren't always good or evil, but because of what happens and their reaction to it, they become, evil, especially when someone is behind them manipulating the circumstances.
Yeah.
I've watched this whole play out through the whole thing, and I'm just like, I wonder if anybody else is seeing how that's happening to and Tanjiro's connection and sympathy for each one of these demons that seconds earlier has been trying to kill him, and he has that empathy to realize
this was a person once.
Yeah. And especially in the next season, you see how he's like, I could have been this guy. I could have been this guy. Anyway, so
we'll talk. We're not here yet, Dad.
We'll talk about that in a second. But seriously, so that's trying to show mean, rude.
Where's the tape, Bree?
So that's kind of where we end with Mugen Train, and which leads us into the entertainment district, which is. I just rewind. Why are you raising your hand?
Because I can't get it. You're talking so much. I can't get in.
Fine, talk. I'm gonna get a drink while you're talking.
But like you can see the longer someone has been a demon, the less humanity they have because they forget. And Akaza, Muzan actually took away his memories like very fast because of like who he was, and he. I can't think of like how to put it in words, but
that's what he wants. He wants them to be. So he wants them to forget their humanity so that he can use them as tools.
Yeah,
because they don't have a life before demons, and that's what they are because they have to be.
It's all they know. Remember,
fearful relationship with Muzan.
Oh yeah, like with the three fish, the one person that split into three demons. One of the first demons he fought.
Oh yeah,
the one that kept stealing like the 16-year-old girls. Like he was terrified when he mentioned Mugen. He's like, I can't tell you.
Well, doesn't like one of them, the bocce ball girl, she says his name or whatever, and then dies. Yeah. So
Tamari, it's Tamari woman.
Tamari,
the Tamari woman.
Tabachi.
And you see Muzan's curse where their insides rip out of them and just destroy them.
Because he's trying to keep himself so secret,
insulated,
and to make other demons fear the consequences of their actions if they don't comply with what he says, which is something I like. Because then you get to see it in the entertainment. No. Oh crap! What do they see it sometime in later seasons? I'm pretty.
Isn't it when Akaza like tells him about like I got a Hashira up? Is like you didn't kill the other three.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that was a failure.
You don't see that as much later on because you start dealing with the upper ranks,
and they're more.
And yeah, he doesn't want to get rid of them for no reason, but Muzan really starts to lose his usefulness for them because they start getting defeated. In fact, that's what we see in this. So let's in the entertainment district, we finally see them meet an upper ranked demon. So there's upper 6. So there's like 6 through 1 in the upper ranks.
I'm sorry, was Akaza not upper 3?
Well, like they.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, to actually fight against them the whole time. So basically,
Right,
we
we
haven't
got to the
mentioned
beginning.
the
Yeah.
hospital. I love the hospital sequences where they're healing them because there's these 3 little girls that like help them train and help them get better, and they are brutal. I love watching because it's like he's sitting there pulling Tanjiro backwards on his arms, and Tanjiro's like blah, 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 talking like it's no big deal, and they're
That
like,
was Zenitsu. Like,
No,
he's like,
it's-
because he was
yeah.
so happy, and then the other's like, I almost cried during
I think I'm pretty sure the. Oh crap! I forgot her name.
Owie?
The butterfly Hashira.
Shinobu.
Oh.
Shinobu, there we go. I think the reason she took in these 3 little girls is because they're so innocent and cute, but so brutal and terrifying.
So I mean, and there's a sequence for that at the end of the first season where they get injured really bad, and then that's when you meet these people. We didn't really mention that before, and then you see them between this season and between Mugen Train, the first part of the entertainment
You
district.
start seeing them after every fight with an upper or lower moon.
And it's really fun, and they really start to bond with these girls because they get injured and they come and they're all like, oh, these guys are injured.
Carefully take care of the swordsman, nice, and like
Oh,
just genuinely like taking them in and like understanding and caring for them. It's really sweet.
yes, when Tanjiro was like, I want to learn total concentration, breathing constant. He's like, if I stop doing that in my sleep, wake me up. And they're like, okay, he's doing really good so far. Stops, and they just start smacking him with like a broom. He's like, oh no. It's like, let me try again. Like,
Well,
okay.
he tells him, you
Yeah.
beat me up. I don't, he's really wanting to learn this. And so like
They
he's
will
like, be
beat him
ruthless.
up for it.
Yeah. And so it's just, and it's so funny to see these just being brutal with them because they told him to and stuff. And then there's 2 kind of older girls.
Owie and
Cow. Shoot, it starts with a K. It's Kanao.
Kanao,
Yeah.
Kanao and Owie.
And we really see that Tanjiro helps one of them quite a bit because she can't really talk and she's
Kanao.
kind of struggling and stuff. And you see this between the original season and Mugen Train, where he helps her kind of come out of her shell and helps her learn how to make decisions
on her own.
And you kind of learn why she's kind of stuck in that way.
Backstory.
Yeah, you get a scene of her backstory. And so like they become kind of integral to this story as it's progressing. And you just get a feel for those characters interacting, and it's really kind of a fun sequence, especially when Zenitsu meets him for the first time, because he's like girl crazy, absolutely girl crazy.
Because he thinks he's gonna die on every mission,
Yeah.
and he's like, I can't die before
Like,
I
I need
get
a wife.
married.
So he was like absolutely banging into these guys for like, you guys came back every day looking miserable when you were spending the entire day with a bunch of cute girls. Like they get when you're playing that water, like Splash in the Water game, you get to touch their heads. And when you play tag, you get to go anywhere else. And all the girls are just listening to him rag Skins and Tanjiro, and they're just like, I was like, we can hear you.
But the beginning of the entertainment district is really funny because you see that connection, because the upper rank Tengen
is stealing 2 of the girls.
Yeah.
For a mission. Which, to note, they are not swordsmen, the girls that he's stealing.
The one kind of is, but the other one's more of just a
she's trained,
helper,
but she's not like experienced.
She's like the other Kasuka, like the people who come and like clean up the mess after the demon slayers have been there.
Oh, yeah.
Because like those are for demon slayers who haven't gotten really good skills. Like they have the training, they just aren't good enough to be an actual slayer and like fight against demons. So they clean up the mess afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what Owie is.
So we see these guys and they want them to go on this mission, and the 3, like Zenitsu, Inosuke, and Tanjiro, are like, no, we'll go, and stuff. And he's like, okay, but you have to do everything I say. He ends up making them dress up like women.
Terribly ugly looking
Terribly ugly women.
Funny thing, like he dresses them up, makes them like ugly basically, and he has to go and sell them to these houses and whatever. And
basically prostitution houses, yeah. So
And funny thing, the only one that looks girlish enough out of all of them is Inosuke, the most rough
Boorish.
and not polite person
But you
out
take
of all of them.
that, like the woman buys him because she can tell, because she's like looking at him in the thing.
Like-
She's like,
She
like,
had the
huge
craziest
eyes.
face.
It's
Yeah.
like, I'll take him. Like, takes off makeup. Like, I knew there was a gold nugget under here. But they told him, you can't talk because you'd instantly get away. You don't have a girl voice. He's
Yeah.
like, "Mm."
he's like, well, you know how Inosuke talks is really rough and like, so he's like, don't talk. And so
So he's just like,
all he just did was just like, he just
and then
keeps
he's
nodding
running
at
around like in
everybody.
his head, like, how dare they do this to me? Like, how, like, this is so stupid. I can't
I
talk.
find that so funny and like so sweet because you find the first time you find Inosuke, he's
Yeah.
rough. You know,
Oh,
he
yeah.
had no manners, no care in the world. And when you see him in the entertainment district,
So polite.
he becomes so polite, and you see it, and like how he's changed, and you're like,
And how hard he's having to try to keep
Yeah,
going
also,
to
yeah.
do this. He's just
And-
like, but on the outside, he's just like, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
But, like,
Very funny.
this one woman keeps finding him, like, when he does that weird position where his toes are above his head, and he's like
stretched out.
sensing.
Oh yeah.
And she's like, what the heck is going on in here? And then he just shoves himself like through the ceiling, like, mouse man, give me my sword. And
The
she's
mouse
just
man.
staring at
Oh my
she's
God.
like, he's in
We
the
need to
ceiling,
pull up a-
comes
Muscle,
down.
muscle. They're who's the upper
Tengen.
Tengen. It's like he's trained these mice to be obsessive compulsive about their muscles.
They're literally flexing
And
they're like,
they're
muscle.
That's all they say, and they run around and they've taken Inosuke's swords and he like shoots up into the ceiling and his head's sticking in the ceiling and
The
he's
rest
like,
of it is just dangling
bring
out.
me my swords. And you see these little mice bringing in these little mice that are like
And they
flexing
have
the
like
whole
little headbands like Uzui has with like the little bling blings. He made them fashionable.
thing. He made them
Oh,
flashy.
yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot.
Everything
He did-
has to be
Tengen
flashy.
Is he's like, I'm the god of festivals and flashiness. And it's funny because when like he first says that to them, Inosuke Zenitsu is just like, you are so arrogant. And then Inosuke's like, I'm king of the mountains. Like, oh my gosh, I'm stuck with two of them. And it's so funny because also Tanjiro feeds into this. He's like, how can you be feeding into this?
Because he keeps calling him, we gotta find the Lord of Festivals.
Oh yeah.
and he's like, my lord, and I am the lord now. And so he's totally buying into the Tengen's way of thinking about stuff. And it's really funny to watch him change
Yeah.
as stuff. But like
Right, that's
you start
cute.
seeing the women are disappearing inside these houses, women and people, and then eventually Zenitsu ends up disappearing because remember he finds
The
her.
courtesan who is
Yeah.
the demon, and he's in her house. He got stuck
right.
at her house,
Yep.
and he knew immediately like that's a demon, and he was like helping this little girl who's being
Being
pulled and
Oh, that's right, being
like,
bullied by her.
lifted up by her ear.
She's got
by
like
this
blood
woman.
trickling down.
Yeah, her Daki, as we know her, she's a courtesan, and she's just awful. She like tells everyone like you're ugly, and I don't eat ugly people and stuff. And just, like,
she's a real piece of work.
Yeah, and
But she's beautiful.
Yeah.
And so
She's
that's kind of one of
gorgeous,
her
yeah.
demon aspects is that about
that's
her
how
beauty.
that's how she hides in
Mhm.
the entertainment
And-
district is her beauty, and she gives so much
customers. And
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, she makes a lot of money for this
So
house.
the house like won't get rid of her because of that. Even if they could, they couldn't if they tried, because the lady of
She'd
that
eat them.
house, she killed. She's like, you're too ugly,
ugly.
Ugly?
old and ugly to eat. So she dropped. Shut up. So she drops her like onto the ground from high up and murders her because she found out she was a demon. And she's like, I can't have you go and tell anyone. So
Yeah.
So, and this demon's weapon is her belt, basically. This belt, and it like splits into different things.
It's like a spider arm.
We find out that she's actually split off a piece of her belt in another location under the ground where she's storing all the humans that she catches. And Inosuke ends up finding her. And he could hear what's going on. And he blows this hole in the floor, and there's this hole that goes down. And he's like, he goes, I'm going in, and he boink, and he sticks his head, and he's like, and he gets stuck.
Are you talking about Inosuke? Not
Yeah.
Zenitsu?
Oh, did I say Zenitsu? I mean Inosuke.
I thought
Pardon
it
me.
was Inosuke.
And so he's like, I could dislocate every joint.
Don't worry, I
my
can just
body."
get through this and like and then
So you see him
worms his
squirming his
way
hole,
out.
and he's like,
He's like, as long as my skull can fit, I can
I
fit.
can
And I
fit
was like,
anywhere.
no way.
So you just see him, and he's like, how long is this thing go? And he just like, he's keep going. He finally finds this place. Well, at the same time, Tengen has also kind of located this place, but he's taking a more direct line. He's basically
He blows
blowing a hole straight
right above.
throughout into this chamber where they're being kept. And so he ends up fighting this belt, or Inosuke ends up fighting the belt and kind of learning how, and he starts severing the people off of the belt without killing them. Meanwhile, Tanjiro has kind of figured out that she's the demon. He starts fighting her while she's trying to consume another courtesan who is about to leave. Like
Who
she's
has
about
been
to get
bought
married. Yeah,
out,
she's
and
about to be
I better
married
eat you
off.
before you go away.
Otherwise, you know, yeah.
And
Because, like, she's
because he
beautiful.
was talking to her, he leaves, senses that something's wrong, comes back, and that's how he finds the demon trying to consume her with her belt.
Yeah, and she
Which is
absorbs them into
creepy.
her belt, and then like saves them for later.
Yeah. So all these things are happening basically at the same time. You're just getting snapshots of each one. And then the fight sequences through this part are just fantastic. The fight scenes between, it's fantastic. The Tanjiro and the fight with Upper
Daki.
Six, is it Daki? Yeah.
Daki, if we're talking about the girl.
And stuff. And then like he's losing, and then
Tengen.
no,
Uzumi.
his sister
Nezuko.
Nezuko basically comes in at the last second to save him, and you start to see just how powerful she actually is. She's keeping up with an upper level demon, which freaks the upper level demon out, because she knows she's never consumed any human beings. Because Muzan Kibutsuji comes to her and says, I want you to kill this demon that got away, because he knows she's coming. I want you to kill the swordsman, and I want you to kill her because she got away from me. And he's really playing into, oh, you're my favorite, and she's laying on his lap.
You see real manipulative. Like he's so rude and callous to everyone else, but he's like so sweet to her because that's how he manipulates her.
Yeah.
And
by like making
I think
her
something that makes this also so interesting
special.
is that later you'll find out that she's actually a little girl but she's a demon, she becomes one, and she's been living on for years. But it really, when
she was a small girl when she was changed.
When you
was
see
beautiful too.
When you see
so
them
pretty.
interact with Muzan, you see like that she's a child wanting attention, wanting the care of someone, and that's Muzan, and she adores it because she's still a little kid in her heart and soul.
Yeah. And he makes her feel extremely special because of it.
No, and it's fast as this goes on. Like I said, the fight sequences just get more and more and more intense. And like the way they animate it, where like they're kicking up dust and all you can see are the sword flashes of Tengen. And while this is going on, her brother comes out of her in the middle of this fight because she gets beheaded by Tengen, but doesn't die. And they're like,
she was just like,
what's going on? Yeah, she's like, her head's upside down in her lap. She's like, I can't believe you did it. They're all like, why aren't you dead?
And she was like, come get me, big brother. It's like save me. And
so he ends up coming out of her, and he is ugly and creepy and just
extremely what's the word?
Emaciated,
deformed.
He's like basically a skeleton with skin over the top, and his face is all messed up.
Like he's got a lot of birthmarks, but looking ugly ones.
But yeah, and so he starts fighting Tengen, and you realize he's the powerful one. As powerful as she is, he's the one that has been basically doing everything. Basically he defeats them, and then he lets her eat some, and then he eats some, and they have killed 13
A couple of
Hashiras or
Hashiras.
something like that. It's like one had 6 and one had 5 or something, because they talk about that. So these two have killed a lot of Hashiras, not just regular swordsmen and people and stuff. They and that's why they are so powerful in their upper ranks, is because they've actually killed a bunch
And
of Hashira.
like Gyutaro is the brother. He like fights with sickles, like that you use for farming.
They're poison.
Yeah, they're poisoned with his blood and like have flesh all over them. They look really disgusting, but they are extremely powerful. And not only is he like strong, he's very strong, but he's also not strong as others. He uses his intelligence to like get an upper hand, because he realizes during the fight with Tengen Uzui, that like he's left dominant. So he chops off his left hand and blinds him in his left eye. Yeah. And like I gotta check. And like he was like trying to get him off his dominance, because it's kind of hard to fight when you're not fighting with your dominant hand and dominant eye, because I'm right dominant.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's just like, it's not to belabor this, but like it just gets really intense. It gets crazy. They do end up defeating the brother and sister, but to do it, they figure out that they've got to decapitate them simultaneously. That's the only way to win. And then, so they finally end up doing this. And then that's when you see, oh my gosh, I keep losing his name today.
Yorichi?
No, the main Tanjiro. Tanjiro, he goes to find the heads, because like he's worried that they're not, like, he wants to make sure they're dead. And he goes and he finds their heads, and their heads are arguing with each other, the brother and sister, and they're screaming at how they hate each other and stuff like that. And he finally covers the brother's mouth. And he's like, don't say this. You're going to regret this later. This is a terrible thing. And you're just like, these people are trying to kill you. But he's got such powerful empathy, because he sees himself. He's like, this could have been me and my sister.
And he also, Gyutaro, during the fight before Uzui got there, Gyutaro even offers him to turn him into a demon, so he could be with his sister and become like Gyutaro, because Gyutaro sees himself and his sister in these two.
Yeah. While he's tormenting him terribly, he's also saying, but I could change you and make you
stronger, then you can actually protect your sister.
And that's and you're seeing Tanjiro kind of go through this manipulation, and he thinks he's getting the upper hand, and then headbutts him and stabs him with a kanojai, or
one of the
blades that has poison on it.
We completely forgot to mention
Uzui's wives.
Yeah.
Oh.
He has 3 of them, because
they
are beautiful. Dad, you have a wife. I can say.
I have eyeballs too. I still could say things.
But I cannot remember their names. They're one of the 3 people I cannot.
Hotties. We're just going to refer to them as the 3 hotties.
They're really pretty, and they're very devoted. And Tengen Uzui was a shinobi,
samurai, basically
a ninja. And in his clan, like he had 10 siblings, and like they married a lot of different women to have more heirs and stuff like that.
But most of his siblings are killed.
They're all dead. Because his him
and his brother are still alive.
Yeah. Him and his father put them against each other, like blindfolded, and had them kill each other. They didn't even know until Tengen found out like he was fighting his brother, then spared him. But the rest of his family is dead. And they
she says that so dead. They're dead.
They're all dead.
So this, like I said, and this is where you get to kind of see how, I mean, just another way that Tanjiro empathizes with these people and sees the manipulation, sees how they've been betrayed by Muzan Michael Jackson. And it is really sad. It is really sad, but it's very poignant. Anyway, so they end up winning through the fight. Inosuke gets stabbed through the chest. You think he's dead, but you've already seen him do crazy stuff with his body. He's able to dislocate his heart so that when the knife goes through, he doesn't get stabbed in the heart, but he's still poisoned. Zenitsu has been using his lightning flash power so long, he's actually breaking his own legs and stuff. And he wakes up because he's been asleep. When Zenitsu's fighting through this whole sequence, completely different human personality. He is like very he's just very powerful, very on par, not like the crybaby that you normally see him as, and he's fighting this whole time, and it's really kind of cool to see that split side of him, and he's asleep the whole time because he's got this bubble blowing out of his nose, and that's how you can tell he's asleep. But
It always bursts when he wakes up. It's like, huh?
yeah,
What's
and so
happening?
he wakes up, has no idea what's happened, and he's like, "Why are my legs hurting? I don't understand." Anyway, and so they end up falling asleep in a pile all together with Nezuko's in the middle, and they're all like laying on each other. And
Like Nezuko has a different form. They find out like she kind of loses control when she fights Daki, because like she actually tries to attack someone, and Tanjiro like keeps her there, like has her bite his sword, and like tries to get her back, and he eventually does, and she like starts crying
by singing her a lullaby from her childhood.
Yeah, but like she's really scary in that form. Like she gets a big old horn, like airy, but like
and
weird.
like plant vines like start twisting themselves, or
Markings
like
all over her
markings
body.
go all over her body.
And
It's really cool.
And instead of like being like a child body that she is, she gets like an older woman's body, and it's like, damn.
Hey, can't say that.
Hey, I have eyes too.
Mm.
I have eyes too.
You're grounded.
Excuse me.
Anyway, so this is another really great season. We're starting to run out of time. We're here. We're going long. So we may end up coming back to talk about the fourth season
And fifth.
and the fifth as it starts to come out. But seriously, these are great seasons. The art is beautiful. I love the music because it is very traditional Japanese.
And it's meaningful.
Yeah.
The way it's placed in the
Mhm.
shows, you're like, yeah, this is where you would place music,
Yeah.
instead of just kind of like playing it.
Oh,
wherever.
and
It's very stylized. Like I said, the art is very stylized. The music is very stylized. The characters are
The
very.
fighting styles
yeah,
too.
it is very much a unique kind of anime in that way. I mean, it has that anime characteristics, but it is very kind of a unique thing all of its own. And I think that's why it has such a following that it does between the manga and the anime, is just because you can tell the love and care that has gone into this by that's actually a woman that writes the manga and stuff. And you can just tell she really cares about what she's writing. And it's just a great story. It really is. And it continues on. In fact, I have just started rewatching this. Maybe this is a good thing we ran out of time because I didn't get to watch all of
I'll agree.
the Swordsmith Village.
I need to rewatch
And I'd
the
like to
Swordsmith.
see that again before we go through this, because it's important that we be able to give you some our insights on what we think is the best parts and stuff like that. And because we always want to hear from you guys. When we're doing these live streams, we want you guys to input. We want you guys to tell us, I like that part. I didn't like that part. I mean, we very much want your interaction because, I mean, we can sit here and tell you all day what we think, and we will. But it is a great thing to be able to hear from you guys, to get your input, to see what you think about these different things, because you might have an insight that we've missed and that, other people have missed that are going to be watching this stream.
Like I've said, I like watching it like movies or shows with other people, because then I get their view of the show, what they think, because I always think, oh, you know what, I don't think that means anything, or I miss it, and they'll go, did you notice this? Or I can't believe she did that. I'm like,
what a cow!
Me and Bree.
I'm like, wait, I totally missed that. Flew right over my head.
Yeah, like when me and Bree were watching Solo Leveling, we would like fill each other in on stuff we noticed. And we're like, oh my gosh, that's so crazy. Whoa, I can't believe I missed that.
See, and when we started this, I wanted you guys to get a feel for what it's like to be around our Sunday dinner table, because this is what happens.
It's chaos.
We end up talking about, have you seen this one yet? And we've got this episode, and my son is very much in on this. My other two daughters, $3, because Liv is actually really into anime and stuff.
Discounting children.
So, well, I wasn't sure if she was liking it because she likes it or because we like it. So she's young enough that I'm like,
and also like me with the arm raising, that also happens at family dinners because everyone's talking. I want everyone to know my opinion.
It's a
at
madhouse.
some point, you just start staring at someone until they look at you, and then you're like, okay.
And then they're like, okay, what did you think about
that? Takes too long for me though. They're always looking at someone else and doing a very long conversation. So I'm like,
why are you looking at me when you say that?
Because it's usually towards you. But real quick, Tengen Uzui's sword art is
Sound.
sound breathing, and his slaying type. I can't think anymore. His
Sword art.
yeah, I'm just gonna say sword art
Yes.
is he sees it as like a
And she
musical.
wonders why we don't talk to her. Just kidding.
He sees it as a musical score. So when he does it, you like. It's
That's how he
musical.
ends up starting to defeat the emaciated demon.
He starts realizing the patterns
The
in
sequence.
the score.
Yeah. He basically turns his movements into music.
Yeah,
And-
and also when his arm gets chopped off, he uses his mouth to hold his other sword.
Yeah, we forgot to mention
Yeah,
that.
he-
Well,
is
I didn't
so
want to.
cool.
I didn't want to go too long into the fighting sequences because literally we could go blow
We
for
could go.
blow, and it'd just be like,
Well,
you're
I
like,
need to
yeah, we
rewatch.
watched
Did
that
you
already.
notice
Thanks.
this cut?
This one this way, and then this one that way. No,
And then
so
an uppercut. Wait.
no, so it really is something you've got to see for yourself. We could talk about it all day, and we would, but seriously, go watch this yourself. So next week, next Sunday, we may be moving the time of our stream to a little bit earlier time to see how it works for people. Sometimes, like, we get people that'll watch us from like Germany and England and stuff periodically.
And the last time.
And yeah, the last time we had some Italians watching, and they're just like, but it's like 2-3 o'clock in the morning for them if we're on this late American Standard or Mountain Standard Time. So we may try and move things earlier so that people have more options to actually
Well,
watch us
wouldn't that
live.
either make it earlier in the morning or later at night?
Yeah. The problem is our church starts at like noon, so it's like right in the middle of everything, and then we're gone for 2 hours. But anyway, so we're thinking about moving the time next week. We'll let you know for sure. Just watch the announcements, and it'll pop up and let you know when we're going to be coming. But we are going to be talking about Fire Force next week. The new season is dropping right now. The third season. I've been waiting for this one forever. Fire Force is fantastic, and what makes it even better, it pairs into one of my other favorite animes, Soul Eater. They take place in the same world, and you find that out in one of the last episodes of the third or the second season. They end up at the La Coupa Chabra or whatever, the bar that you see Soul Eaters death scythes always go to. So if you guys have never noticed that,
I need to go and watch this series now. Absolutely, let's go right now.
so it is really cool that you find that those two are happening in the same world. They are part of the same universe, and it really blew me away because I love both of them. I could watch Soul Eater over and over and over again, and we've talked about that one before.
I've only seen a couple of episodes of Fire Force.
Oh yeah, but Fire Force is.
She means Fire Force. You've seen
Yeah.
all of Soul Eater.
Yeah, Fire Force is fantastic. So we will be talking about that next weekend. We'll be bringing some of the new stuff we've seen from the episode or episodes that they've released, depending on how many they've come out with. And then we will be talking about that. So I hope you guys will join us here next week for that. And we are looking forward to that. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for participating and be part of this. And we will talk to you guys next week. Thanks now. Bye.